What's going on, everybody? It's me, FF Tyler O, talking to y'all on this beautiful, wonderful Super Bowl Sunday. We're here to talk at you, doing some DFS, showdown, prop bets, all the things that you want to know about the Super Bowl today. Coming at you about 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so we still got some time before that Super Bowl hits at 6:30. Joining me, we have my man Lou, my man Maddie, and of course, we got Randy. We're going to be, before we jump into the DFS side of things, we wanted to kick it off something a little bit more fun, a little more interactive here. We're going to be talking foods and drinks and mocking that stuff, but I'm not going to kick into that. I'm going to throw it over to Randy here. Randy's going to do that, and then we're going to jump into the prop bets and all the good stuff. So, Randy, my man, take it away.
Yeah, man, it's Super Bowl Sunday. We were going to do this at 4. We decided to do it a little bit earlier in the day to give you time to maybe run to the grocery store. You know, you got to get them good eats. If you're congregating, do so safely. But so we're going to do a mock draft of foods and drinks and appetizers. But here's how it works. We're all going to form a team. Much like on your fantasy team, you would form a team of wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks. You will also be able to draft a team of appetizers, main courses, and beverages. So you can't have 2 appetizers, you can't have 2 beverages, you can only have one of each. And the strategy is who has the best team. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around the horn, we're going to draft food. We're going to go with Lou. Lou is the co-host of this show. Lou's the 101, Tyler's the 102. Maddie the 103, and I will take the 104. So we're trying to put together the best combination of drink, appetizer, and main course of food for the Super Bowl. So Lou, I see your hat there if you're watching live on YouTube or Twitter with us, as well as Tyler's shirt. Man, we got to get these guys a sponsor. I can't have my boys drinking Natty Light.
The beautiful thing is I am sponsored by Natty Light, so we're good to go, Randy.
Oh, that's perfect. You're like the Ricky Bobby of podcasts. This is fantastic. All right, Lou, you're up with the 101. Lots of things to go with, man. What are you going with? What's the best thing that you're going to start building this team out with?
Yeah, I think with 101, we had 3 different categories. And it seems like one of the categories is like a very clear number one that is just so far above the rest. And I just want to clarify, like, can I just say beer, or do I have to say a specific type of beer, like light beer, IPA, or anything like that?
No. Beer is beer. We're not going to get down in the minutia of I'm taking a Dogfish Island Extra IPA or something. No, just beer. Maybe some people are drinking a natural light. Maybe some are drinking a fancy IPA. It's 1 o'clock, and Tyler clearly is on. So you're going 101 beer.
Beer, I just think it's so far and above as far as beverage at the Super Bowl. It to me, it seems like that's the best way to start my lineup.
Well, you're not going to get many arguments from the Super Bowl commercials. We're going to see a lot of Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light. Probably not Natty Light. See, if Natty Light had a Super Bowl commercial, it wouldn't be as cheap as it is. You couldn't get a 30-pack for $9.99. So it's a great pick. Lou with Beer 101. Tyler, you're up 101. What do you got?
Yeah, Louis sniped me there because I was definitely going to go beer / natural light. And I know that Louis means natural light when he says beer, but of course we are not being that specific. If I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, I think the drink, the top elite drink is off the board, right? That's going to shift me into the appetizer or the entree portion. And we had this conversation off air, and we've decided to slide wings into the appetizer side of things. And I think that that is definitely the best appetizer left on the board. It creates the best value, I believe. So I'm going with wings of all types. I think I get both boneless and boned in. I'm more of a bone guy, but all wings, all types, all sauces. I got that at my 102.
Yeah, I never once in a million years thought wings were going to slide to me at the 104. I was hoping that's what I'm actually making. I have yet to do this, but my in-laws got me an air fryer for Christmas this past year, and I'm going to try some air-fried dry rub wings for the Super Bowl for me and my son. Looking forward to that. All right, Maddie, you're up at the 103. What are you going, man? You gotta go entree. Well, the one, in my opinion, 2 of the 101s are gone already. You're up, and then I'm gonna go for 2, and then you're right back up.
Yeah, man. So my options are gone. They're shot. But there's one left. There's one left, and I have my drink picked out already. But I'm not going to take it this early because it would be a reach. And I know Memphis isn't choosing this because he doesn't drink it. So let's go pizza at the 103. I'm taking all types of pizza, and we're eating good at my place.
Yeah, I was hoping you were gonna go drink there. I really was hoping that you were gonna go with a beverage because I wanted pizza. And by the way, this is like the shittiest, hardest working day for pizza delivery drivers in America. Don't be a cheap bastard. Don't be cheap. Tip your pizza delivery people, your Grubhubbers, the people that bring you the good eats so you don't have to go out there. No, man, pizza is clearly the 101. But since we're going to be posting all of these final rosters on Twitter for you guys to vote on to decide who is the champion on a mock draft Monday, on a Super Bowl Sunday, I'm gonna placate and I'm gonna go to the people. I'm gonna reach into the heartstrings of America, and I'm gonna go hard seltzer. There are so many. There are so many. There are Trulies. There are Bud Light's got one. Corona's got one. The Claws. There are no laws when it comes to claws. So I'm going to go with all of your hard seltzer products.
Matty, you're okay? Matty looks a little miffed here. Matty looks miffed.
That was my drink selection that I knew Memphis didn't drink.
Oh,
and he takes it.
I've had one. I mean, I've had them. I mean,
You've had one.
But I'm also about winning. This is a draft. This is the strategery of the draft is trying to make sure that my team gets a lot of votes. I am gonna go. Man, I got to think of what everybody else has. So we got 2 drinks, and I've got to go with a good something. Man, and this is lame, and I don't know that it'll get me a lot of votes, but I'm going to go chips and salsa. You know, it's a staple. That's my appetizer. I'm going to go chips and salsa. One of my personal favorites. I love the Tostitos with a hint of lime, a good spicy salsa. That seems like it would pair well with some seltzer. So we're gonna throw it back to Matty. Matty is bummed. He's been double sniped back to back. You got sniped at a food draft. Man. You got sniped at a food and beverage draft.
I don't know where to go from here because with pizza, it's interesting. You have to choose something that pairs well with the entree. So with that, you know, I'm gonna take an entree. I'm gonna take a appetizer here, and I'm gonna go soft pretzel sticks with queso, or honey mayo.
You get all the sauces, my guy.
Yeah. You get pizza. Yeah. You get the liquid cheese. It's not really cheese.
I'm giving people carbs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, I have a friend at the Super Bowl party I'm going to. You know, not a lot of people at it, but she's making a pizza dip. So it's like it's got pepperonis in it and mozzarella and like it tastes like pizza basically, but it's a dip that you dip garlic bread or whatever into. So I'm really excited to try that out this year. So I like the call.
All right, Mr. Tyler, you got chicken wings. You got arguably the number 101 overall. I mean, wings and beer right there, 1 and 2. But what are you going to stack? What's going to be the stack of this team?
So the tough part for me is that y'all went like back and back, and like I was thinking to myself that things didn't fall the way I wanted them to, is what I'm basically going to say. So I'm going to go drink on this one, and I think I'm going to take a Memphis strategy here, and it might not be my most popular drink, but I'm going to go with I think since we did the seltzer thing, we did the beer thing. I don't know if I can say, just hard liquor altogether. I'm actually going to go specifically to whiskey. I know there's a lot of very big like whiskey and I'm going to go whiskey bourbon. Whiskey bourbon drinkers out there, especially, I kind of playing into the fantasy football people. I'm seeing people always posting their whiskey bottles and all this other stuff on there. I'm not into it as much, but whiskey bourbon is going to be my drink at that next pick for me.
Well, I think that's fair because that still leaves beverages like rum, like tequila, etc. I don't want to go too deep out there and maybe give some spoilers, but
Matty over here.
Wings and bourbon, I tell you what, a good shot of bourbon with some hot wings, man, it'll heat it up and cool it down all at the same time. I like a bourbon and hot wings. So, Lou, man, you got to round out your team. You got to go back to back. You've got beer, and now you're going to go back to back with your final 2 picks.
Yeah, you guys took a lot of the good stuff, so it's tough for me. I feel like for my side, I'm gonna go with buffalo chicken dip. Everyone loves some good buffalo chicken dip, and it's a great day to have it. I know as I mentioned before, the party I'm going to, we just had a whole section of dips, like who's bringing what dip. We have like 5 different dips going, but everyone goes to buffalo chicken. It seems like it's a pretty good staple, so I'll go with that for my appetizer. And then I got main dish left?
Entree, baby.
This is tough because I feel like I'm gonna do pulled pork sliders. That sort of idea.
Man, that's a great that's the sleeper of the draft right there. Pulled pork sliders. Lou,
Yeah.
you dirty dog, you man. I love it. Pulled pork sliders.
You got me.
Man,
That was mine, man.
That was a good one, man. Great job. That might have put you over the top. Beer and pulled pork sliders. And then I know we'll give him a shout out because he always posts his recipe. Mike, the fantasy hitman, right from the fantasy footballers. He always posts his buffalo chicken dip, and it's pretty good. I made it last year, so good one there. And Tyler.
I'm seriously torn on my entrees right now, and I'm stuck between 2. And I know that Maddie can't take one because he's already on entree, so I might be handing you one here, Memphis. But I personally, I'll tell you where my thought process is. I look at burgers, sliders, and I feel like it's an obvious choice, but like I don't know if that's necessarily the direction that I can go in, just because it's not true to me. It's not what I would do. So I'm actually going to go with something that might be true to me, and it might not be the right answer, but my entree is going to be chili. Just straight up, everyone's got that vat of chili. Everyone's got their recipes. I've been to a Super Bowl before when people have like chili, chili cook-offs and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a less sexy pick, but I'm gonna go chili as my entree.
That is another good one. I will admit, for the first time in this draft, I got sniped. I thought I was 2 away. I thought chili would slide to me at my final pick, but we didn't get it. All right, Maddie, one more pick and I'll bring this thing home. You got to go with your beverage now.
Every Super Bowl we do chili, so that one hits close to home. We do chili dogs, so that's my favorite Super Bowl food right there. For the consensus, though, let's see water as the top option for beverage because we don't drink over here at the Big Chest household.
Just like walk over to the sink, you put some Solo cups next to.
Fresh H2O.
It is a hydrated household.
No, I'm just kidding. We're going with vodka and we're doing Moscow Mules.
Oh,
okay. I was like, man, that's pretty chintzy. What one day I'll have to tell the wings and water story. A previous boss of mine will get a kick out of it. Man, I tell you what, I had an epiphany. Even though Tyler sniped me and wrecked it, I think he actually did me a favor in reverse. I'm going to go Taco Bar. Because I got the chips and salsa, I got the Truly. That feels like a very good combination.
Good combo.
You get your chips and salsa. You have all your taco fixins. You got your barbacoa beef. You got your chicken.
You got your guac.
You got guac. You got everything right there. And it's going to be a Mexican-based theme here at my party. So to recap, Lou's team is beer, buffalo chicken dip, and pulled pork sliders. Tyler is rocking with wings, whiskey/bourbon, and chili. I do not want to smell that house about halftime. It'd be rough as could be. Maddie is going a little bit more bougie with his pizza, probably like a nice thin crust, like fancy upscale pizza, soft pretzel sticks, and some Moscow Mules. And then I'm going hard seltzers, Claws, Trulies, what have you, chips and salsa, Taco Bar. So there you go. You've got about 5 hours left to take some rendition of what me and boys were doing here. I appreciate Tyler letting me host for about 15 minutes on his pod. Now let's get into the real stuff we want to talk about. Man, you guys want to talk about some DFS, some props. I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thank you for letting me talk about food. Now everyone's hungry.
Randy, I appreciate it, sir. Always great to have you host. But let's jump into the games now. This is the game. We want to talk about the sports betting in general. Again, just to go over at the high level, we're going to be talking a lot of props, a lot of betting, and maybe a little bit of showdown information. I personally am not necessarily the biggest showdown fan. It's been my nemesis for the last few years, but we might cover that some as well. But what I really want to do to kick this off, just go around the horn real quick. And in less than 20 seconds, guys, I'm going to give you a shot of like 20 seconds to give me a quick, like, what do you think the score, what do you think the outcome is going to be, and give me the difference maker. So it's going to be, the outcome and the score, and then like what was the difference maker that led to that outcome and score. I'm going to kick it off for myself, give you guys a second just because you didn't get a second. Think about it. I think the Chiefs win. I think the Chiefs get the W here today. I think what really it comes down to is the fact that Pat Mahomes is a better quarterback. No offense to the Tom Brady stands out there. I get the GOAT thing, but he is 42. I think Mahomes is the difference maker. He's the real deal. And the Chiefs are going to win by 7. Is going to be. So I got Chiefs by 7, and it's just going to be Mahomes. Not a hot take. I hear you there, but that's my prediction. That's what I think happens. Lou, I'm going to pass it to you.
Yeah, and I think that's obviously the go-to take that people have. They are the favorites, and the line's only 3, so it's not like it's overwhelming. And I think one of the big storylines, at least this week and going into the game, that's going to sort of define the game is going to be that O-line, D-line matchup between the Chiefs and the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
With the injuries on the Chiefs offensive line, are the Bucks going to be able to pressure Mahomes? Obviously, we know Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks against pressure in the league, but I think that's going to be important. Can they get to Mahomes? Can they beat him up a little bit, get a few sacks in there? And I think if the Bucks were to win this game, it's because of that.
Randy.
I am going 34-31 Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Brady's. I think it comes down to the return of Vita Vea, space eater in the middle of that line. I know it seems like a small thing, but it's not. On top of the fact that Kansas City's offense line is already in shambles, and Eric Fisher got hurt late in that game, and they did not get a chance to work a lot of the kinks out of what they're going to do. And this was a really good front four for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll hit you with a bonus prop. I actually bet Tampa Bay over 2.5 sacks, a little bit of plus money on that deal, because you got Shaq Barrett, you've got I'm drawing a blank on the JPP, 3 fingers JPP. That's how I like my whiskey: 3 fingers and 3 fingers of JPP. And so for those reasons, man, I am going to lean toward Tampa Bay in a very close but very fun game.
Maddie, closes off here.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a little hotter on this take. I think we're going to have one of the highest scoring Super Bowls of all time. I think that we have 2 quarterbacks who played in the Super Bowl before. Obviously, with Tom Brady, he has as many rings as the most Super Bowls in a franchise. So he's tied with 7. He could get more rings than any other franchise if he wins the Super Bowl today. So, I'm going to have to go the Buccaneers because I want that to happen. I want to see this madness of Tom Brady and his legacy just happen. So I'm going to go 44-41 Buccaneers. And cool. Both quarterbacks over 400 yards.
I love that. So that's going to really lead us into some of the props, because I want to, before I jump into the props, I do want to jump into the more of the team level stuff and see what we like there. So let's kick it off the line. All right, we got Kansas City -3, Tampa Bay +3. It opened up 3.5. Haven't seen a lot of movement there. So when you're looking at, let's just start there. KC -3, Tampa Bay +3. Are any of you gentlemen jumping on that as a value grab, or is that something that you're missing on? Any strong opinions on the spread here?
I'm a pass on that.
I'm passing too. Randy, looks like you got something.
I'm not a strong, but since I think Tampa Bay's going to win the game outright, for me it would make the most sense to take Tampa Bay on the money line.
Yeah,
right now on DraftKings, it's the easiest for me just to pull up on my phone. Normally we're sponsored by mybookie.ag, promo code DWZ Memphis. But I would, if I'm going to take Tampa Bay, I might as well take the plus money, plus $1.38. And so I get a little bit of extra juice my way. So
I like that.
That's my lean. It's not one of my bets. I was just looking to make sure I have all my props in order to discuss on the show with you guys today. But yeah, that would be my lean. If I was going to bet it on the game or the side or the total, then that would be. I was leaning under because of the rain in the forecast, but the rain should stop like right now, and it's supposed to be absolutely perfect. Like you couldn't, like, if you were to create Super Bowl weather for an outdoor venue in a lab, that's what they're going to have today. It's going to be clear skies, about 70 degrees. So it should be very conducive to scoring. So maybe the over, but I like Tampa Bay. So I would take Tampa Bay plus the money. That's my lean.
I have an interesting comeback on that. So what do you think about this, Memphis? So Tom Brady right now, Super Bowl MVP odds are plus 190. Do you think that's a good line? Instead of betting them to just win, you take a little extra payout and go with Brady MVP.
Well, it makes sense because those two bets are directly correlated.
Right.
It feels next to impossible for a non-Tom Brady Buccaneer to win the MVP, short of maybe JPP having like a strip sack, fumble, return for a touchdown. And then, so let's say he had like 2.5 sacks, one of which he recovered himself for a fumbled touchdown. Yes, that's a very correlated prop to go along with me thinking that Tampa Bay. So yeah, that would be another way to get plus money, almost 2-1.
Yep.
So I don't hate that at all.
And I think what's interesting to me is I'm 100% in on that. But in reality, if the Bucs are winning and Tom Brady is in fact the MVP, I at least got to throw in there that the Bucs line would probably be the actual MVP of this game if that actually happens. Yep. I have my doubts. Brady's a little bit erratic now at this age, and his ability to create isn't what it used to be. So that line will have to play a hell of a game if that happens. But it obviously can happen because we know the Bucs offensive line is good. Maddie, just want to throw that question back to you to bring us back around. It sounds like you'd be on Bucs money line in the over. Anything to add to that?
Nothing to add. I like what Memphis said. Buccaneers adding Vita Vea back was huge for their defense. Their defense is really good, man. It's just solid. And, Patrick Mahomes, it's the best offense against the best defense in the league. So it's going to be a fun Super Bowl. I'm just here for commentary, just to add, because, I'm just a degenerate fantasy football player. I do monkey knife parlays in my meantime. So money lines aren't really my thing. So I like to bet on parlays.
All right, so the next piece here is one of my favorite things to do is throw out something that I like and either let Lou rip me to shreds or essentially agree with me because Lou is way smarter than I am when it comes to this stuff. So one thing that I want to throw out, and just kind of like a piece that I've been looking at, right? And feel free to comment on it, disagree, or agree here. But the interesting thing about this Super Bowl matchup is we've already seen it happen. So we've seen the matchup happen, I believe, in week 12. Not to say we're going to expect the exact same outcome, but I think there are things that we can draw from that game, at least for me personally. And when I look at that game, the thing that obviously has to stick out to everybody is Tyreek Hill. I mean, I think the dude had 200 yards in the first half, maybe of the first quarter. And I think to myself, Tyler, like, they can't let that happen again. Like, they can't just man coverage on Tyreek Hill or they're going to get absolutely roasted. So so I think to myself, all right, they need to make sure there's two people on Tyreek, there's safety over top, what have you. However they do, they cannot have just straight up man-to-man coverage on Tyreek because that failed miserably. Arguably the biggest failure on defense we've seen in the year, honestly, if you look at it from just the statistical standpoint. So what that tells me is like they can't let Tyreek beat them, but if they're doubling Tyreek, they can't double my man Travis Kelce. And if you put in just a corner on Travis Kelce, that is not great news. So for me personally, I think it's going to be more popular. But like I'm liking the Travis Kelce bets, the anytime touchdowns, the over in receptions, the over in yards. I don't know if I'm going to hammer each and every one of those, but I'm looking for Travis Kelce to be getting a lot of work early and often, just because I think they're going to try to eliminate Tyreek Hill and those downfield plays, those huge plays. You got to eliminate the big plays if you're going to try to beat the freaking Chiefs. So that brings me to Kelce. They're okay with letting 8 to 10 yard catches to Kelce all game. I want to turn to Lou real quick to see what he thinks, and then we'll pop it over to the two of you. Louis.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. I agree for the most part. The problem with Travis Kelce is all of his props are
bad
insane.
Odds.
Like
bad odds.
He's at what now 97.5. I'm seeing for receiving yards, like projected to have most receiving yards in the game. I do agree with you that they should want to stop Hill from getting 200 yards and 3 touchdowns again. But, that's easier said than done, right? So, yeah, I think Kelsey
is there Travis Kelce? Tell me your favorite Kelce prop that you're going to be betting on, because there's a lot of them. I like them all, but we do have to. Let's just say your favorite Travis Kelce prop, because you're agreeing with me, but at the same time, we don't want to just bet them all.
Right. I think if you're going to look at, like, I don't know, maybe first TD is
plus 700.
Yeah, 701.
And sorry, Lou, just to let everyone listening is clear, we're looking at DraftKings right now. That's kind of where I got the sports book again. Apologies, Randy, but I'm looking at DK right now. That's kind of what we're going to be going off of for this show. But the first TD, your favorite Travis Kelce bet at plus 700.
Yeah, I think so. Or you could go with like over 46.5 for first half receiving yards. Something like that could work.
Mm-hmm.
Since he's projected 97 on the game and 46 in the first half, that there could be some value there.
I like that. Open it up to Randy and Maddie. Thoughts on what we've been talking about, specifically Travis Kelce?
Well, I like this one better on FanDuel, so I'm bouncing back and forth between books. And I live in the state of Indiana, so legal here, so I have them all. You have an interesting decision to make. On DraftKings, you can take Travis Kelce under or over 8.5 receptions. If you go over, you get plus 101, so basically even money. Or then it was like minus 125 on the under total receptions. But if you pivot over to DraftKings, to FanDuel, the over is 7.5 minus $1.58, which feels like a lot. But here's the thing. So Travis Kelce this year has played 18 games. In 12 of 18 games, he's had 8 or more receptions, including against Tampa Bay. The first time these two teams played, he had 8 targets, 8 receptions, 82 yards. So if you wanted to hedge a little bit, I do like your over. I think we said it was either 92.5 or 97.5. He's done that in about 50% of his games. I think it's 10.
It's also about 11 of the last 12. He only has his lowest in the last stretch of 12 games is 7.
So I don't know that they would. I don't know that they would even let you parlay these. But what I may do is because to get to one, I feel like he really has to get to the other, and I do like it because of your Tyreek Hill comment. Todd Bowles can't let Tyreek Hill beat him the same way he beat him last time. So if you like the Travis Kelce and you want to hedge a little bit, go on FanDuel, go over 7.5 receptions, and that gives you, because you can get both, but you can definitely get one or the other. It feels very comfortable. So, it might be a kind of a break-even spot. I know you're laying a good amount of juice, but for him to be going over 8 and 12 games, the data dictates that you're getting a fair number, even at lay $1.58. So that would be something I would parlay, or not parlay. I would correlate to the yards. I'm not a big parlay guy, especially on props, especially on the same player.
Fair enough, Maddie. I want to give you some time here.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the DraftKings the book right now, and I like to look at the to score and for the props, and I like to score 2 touchdowns, 2+ touchdowns. Travis Kelce's at 250 right now, so that's pretty good money line. But there's another one that I really like, and if Antonio Brown is playing, you can bundle these two to have touchdowns. Travis Kelce and Antonio Brown both have a touchdown. You get plus 415 on that juice. I like that one a lot. It's a little riskier, but throw 5 on it, you get a lot. You get more than you put on it. So,
Lou, tossing it to you, switching things up a little bit. We've talked about Kelce. I think it's going to be one of the more popular bets in general. Outside of Kelce, give me one of your favorite prop bets of the day.
Ooh, I'm full disclosure. I made a lot of prop bets for this, and it's fun. It's the best day of the year for prop bets because there's just so many more options than normal. And kind of going off, I know I already said the Travis Kelce one, but I did get Leonard Fournette at plus 1,400 for first touchdown. So I really liked that bet. But since it's now down to plus 1,000, I don't like it as much. So I'm going to go with over 48.5 rushing yards for him. It has a little juice on it, but I think that's one way that they're going to beat this Chiefs team. And as we've talked about in the past, running backs tend to do well against the Chiefs. So I like that bet.
Playoff Lenny. It seems as though there's been a bit of resurgence, a little bit of juice left in Lenny's legs, man. There was some serious, there were some times watching Leonard Fournette in the last 2 weeks where I thought to myself, like, whoa, that kind of looked like Ronald Jones, because Fournette looked terrible in the season. But then all of a sudden, turned it on for the playoffs. Randy, Maddie, thoughts on Lou's one of more favorite bets in Leonard Fournette over 48.5?
Maddie, you want to go first?
Yeah, so I'll go first and touch on Tampa Bay only rushing the ball 13 times in their first matchup with the Chiefs. This is Bruce Arians we're talking about. This is a guy who likes to throw the ball when they have to throw the ball. Doesn't like to run the ball. So to get 50, 48.5?
Correct.
That's gonna be quite hard for Leonard Fournette, but at the same time, it looks good enough to say do it. So, I'm gonna have to go to the past game and say that the fact that they only had 13 attempts for all the running backs in that stable against the Chiefs in the Week 12 matchup, I'm going to have to pass on the bet and just try to find something else and pivot.
And for me on Uncle Lenny, there was no player in the conference championship round that we had more bets on. We do a betting group at the DWZ Patreon. There's about 11 or 12 of us that have some fun, make some bets together. And there was no one we were more invested in than Leonard Fournette. We had his yardage. We had his receptions. We had his receiving. We had literally everything. I'm scared to go back to the Leonard Fournette well. We barely got there on the last one. He had like 42 yards rushing. It took a 20-yard spin move at the end. At the end of the first half.
Just hammering the X button on Xbox.
Hey, man, I was thrilled. So I'm not going back to the Uncle Lenny well. I actually liked his rushing attempts under 11.5. Now, in the previous game, it was 8.5, and we hammered the over at 8.5 last time. But in this time at 11.5, man, I feel like Vegas has got that number perfectly. So for him to get 11 to 12 carries, that means he's going to have to average about 4.2 yards an attempt, and that's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky, but it does fit with me having Tampa Bay winning the game. So with me having Tampa Bay winning the game, it does side with that. So I lean toward Lou. I don't know that I would bet it, but I lean toward agreement.
All right, and then the same trend. I asked Lou's favorite prop bet. Turning it actually over to you, Maddie. Favorite prop bet of the day, and then Randy, you're up next on the clock, so get ready.
Like I said, I like the players to score. So on the touchdown scoring, if for anyone to score, Mike Evans, he's at plus 100 right now to score a touchdown. To get the first touchdown, it's plus 900. But I don't think he has the first touchdown. So I'm just going to bet probably $10 on him to get one touchdown.
And you know what I actually like? I like the Mike Evans to score a touchdown, but under in yards. That is something that I have been looking at. And that is something that I like a lot is doing, because I don't know if you can parlay it on DraftKings, but doing the touchdown anytime to Evans, but under in yards to Evans, as we know the secondary is quite the force on the Chiefs. Hope I didn't take anything from you there, Randy.
No. I was going to say you can skip me now because I'm in lockstep with you. I'm not a big anytime touchdown. If you're going to bet these, player prop, the touchdown props are hard enough.
That's the best.
But for me, it's either, if you're going to do those, it's either the yes or no version, because there's so much vig baked into the other way. If you think Mike Evans is going to score, stay away from those scoring the first touchdown and just go with the yes or no. Is Mike Evans going to score? I'm cool with that, but I'm with Tyler. I'm with Mike Evans to score, but I want no part of it, no part of his yardage total. I covered that 2 weeks ago on the big bet that I did flying solo, the naked week, the bear week between the Super Bowl and the conference championships. And that was one of my better prop bets was Mike Evans under 63.5 receiving yards. But I've seen plenty of games this year where they get in close to the goal line and they just use that big frame on Mike Evans to box out and come down with a touchdown. So I'm good. I'll throw it to Lou.
Lou, I got one before I turned over for your second one, and it's a little bit deeper of a dive here.
Oh,
but Antonio Brown is expected to be active So I expect him to be playing. With that said, I'm like throwing $5 to $10 on Scotty Miller receptions under 1.5. That's one that's sticking out to me a bit in the 10 games with Antonio Brown being active. Miller's only gone over 1.5 once during that time. So history tells us it's there. Antonio Brown's active. He's playing. Scotty Miller's not going to be out there that much. Even if he does catch that one ball that they scheme the play for him, still doesn't matter. Under 1.5 receptions for Scotty Miller is something that I feel pretty confident about. I'm going to throw probably at least $10 down on that. Louis, you want to comment on that or anybody else?
Sure. Yeah. I think basically what you're saying, with Antonio back, we would expect Miller to play less. So I do like that. Full disclosure, I did make a Scotty Miller bet, but what I made was he would have the longest reception in the game at 15-1.
That one. It's just the one, though. That's what I'm saying.
All he needs is one. So if he has one 45-yard touchdown, then and we both win, like I'd be perfectly fine with that for sure.
All right, Lou, give me another prop bet, or just a bet in general that you feel the most confident about at this point.
Okay, so hear me out on this because it's a little.
Whenever Lou
weird.
starts with that, I got to question myself. But here we are.
So
Go ahead, my man.
There is some theory behind this, but based on the trends of these two teams, it's more than likely that the Buccaneers are going to start with the ball, and. Yeah, I've already mentioned my Fournette first touchdown, but I kind of like the Buccaneers field goal as first scoring play. I got that at 5-1 odds. And from years of watching Tom Brady on the Patriots, we know what he can do on first drives of games. A lot of times they just walk it right down the field and get a touchdown. And that's how the Patriots just did things a few years back. So I like the idea of the Buccaneers getting the ball first. And
can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so the Chiefs have been deferring on coin tosses, and
Gotcha.
the Bucs take the ball. So I think just in general, Buccaneers bets are going to give you better odds today in general. And I think a lot of times, if we do believe the Chiefs have a good enough defense to sort of stop the push of the Buccaneers, then I like the idea of going to that field goal which gives you a little better odds. But then I also have it a little hedged with Fournette first touchdown. So it's a little off the board, but that's one that I kind of like today. And it's not a bet you can usually look for in these games. So something like the money line is going to be more efficient because they have how many NFL games all year that they've been doing this data on. So I think where you're really getting your leverage is by choosing some of these other weird props that they're not looking at as much, and it's not as efficient of a line.
Anything to add there, Randy? Thank you.
I do have something to add, and if you like it, and I've seen a lot of pros on the Tampa Bay to get the first thing. Then another one that you can do, I know DraftKings has this, is the Tampa Bay to be the first team to punt. Now, Kansas City, I have already had another prop on the punting on this past Wednesdays, the big bet with a special guest, Rosalie Michaels. But if you like Tampa Bay and that prop is pretty good, now you got to lay a little extra vig. It's lay $1.43. But if Tampa Bay is going to get the ball first, and we know Tom Brady has scored 3 points, in the first quarter of every Super Bowl. He's had 9 tries, 3 points. So there stands to reason that Tampa Bay would be the first team to punt. And here's the thing, Kansas City throughout the entire playoffs has how many punts? 1. They have 1 punt in 2 games, including a very close game against the Cleveland Browns. The game against Buffalo was a little bit more of an ass whooping, but 1 punt all playoffs, and for that reason, I'm going to correlate and tie into Lou's bet with Tampa Bay to punt first.
All right. Matt, you got anything there?
Yeah, so I have 2 bets that I want to parlay, and it's a punt to be down inside the 5-yard line, and I would put yes on that. I think that we will see a punt, and it's going to be in their field position. And then I'm going to do length of longest drive over 84.5 yards. That's a little risky because, you have to start out basically from your 1 and go all the way down and either get a field goal or all the way down and get a touchdown. But if you parlay both of those, and then let's say let's put $10 on both, you're looking at about $38.20 payout. So
right,
I like to parlay those.
Any other strong feelings when we're talking about prop bets?
You skipped me on the prop bet.
Hit
My
it.
best prop.
Hit it. Well,
Touchdown.
you are the strong feeling. Let's hit it, my guy.
This was the first one I found and the first one that I bet, and unfortunately, it was the biggest line move that I've seen. Touchdown, Tommy Brady, 62.5% completion rate. I know Rosalie pointed this out very astutely on the show on Wednesday night that he had been sub 60 the last 3 games. I do not care. All those games were on the road. In 8 home games this year, Tom Brady has been well over 62.5 in 6 of 8 games. And Tom Brady's going to play it conservative. And I think this correlates very well to Leonard Fournette over receptions. I think I haven't looked at it recently. It was 3.5 to 4.5. I still think that's a good number. Think of James White in the Super Bowl against Atlanta. Tommy's going to come out. He's going to play his cards close to his chest. Again, I recommended the other props earlier that tied to that. But no, 62.5%. Tom Brady has played in how many Super Bowls? 9. I don't think I have that many fingers, guys. 9 Super Bowls. And he has a career Super Bowl completion rate of 66.2% in his career in Super Bowls. This started off lay $1.10 on DraftKings. Last time I checked, unfortunately, it was lay $1.30. I like it either way. Obviously, you'd always like to get better juice, but that is my absolute favorite prop of the whole Super Bowl. I got a couple other. I mean, I've got like 9 or 10. I mean, Maddie's wearing my shirt. I'm Propzilla. I'm Mr. Propadopoulos. So
let's rip them, man. Let's rip them. Let's do it.
Let me pull them up. Because we some others that we have bet in our group. 1 second, please.
Of course.
Tyreek Hill over 27.5 yards for his longest reception. And then I have a separate personal bet of Tyreek Hill over 92.5 yards. You can keep him under 200, but I don't think you're going to keep him under 100. Super Bowls tend to have a slower start. Again, I'm not going to keep referencing the Tom Brady slow first quarter, but I bet the game, the second half over 27 combined points. That was a FanDuel bet. One that the group really wanted, I'm 50-50 on, but this is part of our group, was will there be a roughing the passer penalty? Here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes is not as mobile as he normally is because of his toe. It came out today he's going to require off-season toe surgery because of that injury he sustained in the Cleveland game. So he's going to be less mobile. But here's the thing. If you breathe on Tom Brady, and I could see someone going to swat a ball and barely hitting his helmet, so I acquiesced and went with the group and went over that. Now let's see here. And then... those are some. Then the punts. So total punts in the game is over or under 6.5. I went under. Again, Kansas City has punted one time in the playoffs, and Tampa Bay, they average about 3 punts a game. But here's the thing: you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. If you punt against the Kansas City Chiefs, especially if you're around the 45, either way, you're asking to lose. So especially in the second half, I love under 6.5. And then one last one. The numbers went down, but you're paying more juice. Tampa Bay over 2.5 sacks. The last time these two teams played, they had 2 sacks on Mahomes. Again, he's limited with the toe. And then you have 2 replacement tackles at the tackle position. You're talking about 2 pretty good edge rushers in Shaq Barrett and JPP. So those are a handful of the props that I dig.
So I like the sack one a lot. Let's just like rewind the clock for a second. Von Miller was a former MVP, made the difference in the Broncos. And do you know Randy or Lou? I guess Maddie. Do you know who Von Miller absolutely tore up to get the MVP?
It was Rimmers. Yeah.
And where's Rimmers at right now?
He's got a date with JPP or.
Yes.
Well, it looks like Maddie took our draft to heart. Looked like he ordered some food.
Popeyes, baby. I love that.
Not an official sponsor, but if you want to reach out, Popeyes, the Fantasy Hot Read and the Dynasty Warzone, love to have you.
But that's what I'm with you 100% on the sack one. I think I've heard a lot of back and forth about the game total sacks at 4.5, but I definitely like the Bucks more at 2.5. I just don't have faith, as we've alluded to, in the Chiefs' offensive line. So it's over 2.5 is going to be a big one for me. Down in the chat, we got Gronk at 2.5 receptions. I want to just touch on Gronk real quick because I also think he's also somebody that's been talked a lot about. Hasn't necessarily been crushing it as of late. They've been asking him to block a bit more because we do know he is a great blocker. But at the same time, last time we saw this happen, Gronk was used a bit more in the pass game. But again, the last time the Bucks and Chiefs met, that was really the last time we saw Gronk with a meaningful, pass game role. Gentlemen, thoughts on the Gronk props, specifically the receptions? Lou, I'll go to you first.
The reason I agree with Cody there is Cameron Brate has been a reason why Gronk's usage has been down, and he's beat up. I expect him to play. I feel like everyone's just going to play. He's questionable just because it's a Super Bowl. They'll be active. But I could see him still being limited, Brate. And it's Gronk in the Super Bowl. Like a casual fan probably knows who Gronk is. So I just feel like he's going to be a part of the game. And I think I like that idea. 2.5 receptions is a decent line.
And I agree. And by the way, the person mentioning that in the chat is Cody Carpentier of Roto Underworld. He hosts the Uncovered Prospects podcast. He jumped on with me to talk rookies the other day. So what's up, Cody? No, I agree. And if you want another really good bet on DraftKings, I was just looking. Cameron Brate's reception total is 3.5. 3.5. Now, if you go under,
Crazy.
you have to go lay $1. You have to lay $1.67, which is a fair amount of juice, but that's a number he's only went over, it looks like 5 times all season. And he's got a bad back. As an old guy that sometimes has a bad back, I can tell you that that's not the easiest thing to play through. But yeah, no, I like that. I think if both guys walked out of here with 3 receptions, you could clear 2 bets. You could have Brate under and Gronk over, and Lou's got a co-host in the background.
Oh, yeah, Doug just popped up.
Hey. All right, and then one that I think a big piece of today, right, is about having fun. We like to talk strategy, we like to talk making sure we're plus EV, of course. But one of the ones I just want to get your all opinions on here is on DraftKings they have what they literally call a fat man TD. So that's going to be an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. And currently, offensive lineman to score is plus 1,600. And then I think to myself, it's Andy Reid, right? He's an offensive mastermind, loves to create, like illusions with things. Like I think there's a small chance that we do see a Chiefs offensive lineman. Something's created. They have 2 weeks to plan. That they, they're on the 1, the 2. They create something, because they're going to be worried about Kelsey. That they're able to squeak out one of those offensive linemen out there to catch a touchdown at plus 1,600. I'm fine with laying $10 down on the fat man TD. So I know it's tough to really get a good feeling on that, but I wanted to get your opinion here.
Well, I initially I was going to say I don't think I would do that because Andy Reid and they were talking about this on another podcast that I was listening to about about how boring, because another prop they were talking about was non-quarterback. So how many people would complete a pass? 2.5 was the number. So basically you're betting on like a trick play, like an end around or a wide receiver or whatever. And neither one of these teams do that. But I can see in the Super Bowl something that you don't expect, because a lot of times we don't notice that the 6th offensive lineman reports as eligible. And because Tony Romo and Jim Nantz will be flapping their gums. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, here comes Vita Vea, as my man Cody in the chat again, with a rushing TD, or he leaks out in the blocking, he leaks out from a block and catches a touchdown. So I wouldn't touch it because I'm a bit of a nit. I'm a bit of a nit when it comes to some of these props. But yeah, I could see it, totally see it.
I think I wish this line included 2-point conversions. full disclosure, I bet this line when it was at 20-1. So I was in on it because I just think which quarterbacks in the NFL are most likely to do that. And I think Mahomes, Brady, Breeze, and Rodgers are like the four that tend to do this kind of thing. Eric Fisher isn't part of this game, but he has the touchdown this year. And we've seen this type of thing happen in Super Bowls before where it's like, all right, we got to do something different, throw them off. Everyone's going to be expecting us to throw it to Kelsey, but let's throw it to this offensive lineman because Kelsey and Tyreek are all covered already. So at 20-1, I figured might as well. I'm making enough other quote unquote better bets than that for $10, it's the Super Bowl. That's the type of thing that I think has a better chance of happening than some of those other 20 plus odds of happening. So I did it, but it's more of a fun bet than any sort of statistical anomaly.
Matt, you got something to add on that, or you got another prop that you like to toss on us?
No, I'm just over here enjoying my Popeyes chicken, unofficially sponsored, affiliates of Popeyes. But I do like to see your guys's, you guys talk about these bets as I look at the DraftKings book because it helps me, as a common gambler to make these bets and place some money on these games tonight, this game tonight, because, this is something that I'm not familiar with and it's good to get exposure to. So I'm having a good time enjoying listening to you guys.
Maddie, real quick, Chick-fil-A or Popeyes?
Oh, Popeyes.
I'm with you, dude. Chick-fil-A or Popeyes, Memphis Lou?
I'm I don't know. It's a chicken sandwich, guys. It's a chicken.
But you got to have an opinion here because
I'm gonna go.
It's divisive.
If it's the spicy, I'm going Popeyes. If it's the regular, I'm going Chick-fil-A. I hate to hedge, but that's my true opinion.
What's your opinion, Louis?
I mean, I tend to go to Chick-fil-A more often, so I generally go Chick-fil-A. It's pretty easy. I have the app on my phone. I don't have to use my credit card. I can just walk over with my phone and just pick it up right away. It's pretty fast. So I tend to go Chick-fil-A. This morning I went on the app and it's like, hey, it's Sunday. You can't order. So, I couldn't today, but I generally go Chick-fil-A.
Well, let me throw out another prop. I want to get the consensus because this one right here is tough for me because I said I have Tampa Bay winning the game. Tom Brady over half a rushing yard. I know. We've seen 20 years of Tom Brady. 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. There is no better QB sneaker of all time. But my fear is that he has maybe one QB sneak. But then if they win the game, what generally happens at the end? He's going to kneel down 2 or 3 times. Now I couldn't find it on. I'm sure it's on there somewhere. There's so many damn props. If you go over on FanDuel, it's plus $1.28. If you go under, you're laying $1.58. So again, for me, if you don't, now if you're unlike me and you think that Tampa Bay is going to lose the game, then this might be a prop for you to consider Tom Brady over 1/2 yard rushing, because one quarterback sneak gets you the money because it's not like he's going to scramble out of the pocket too often. So that was one that I wanted to talk about and see what Lou thought.
Ooh, so growing up in Massachusetts, I've seen a lot of Tom Brady QB sneaks in my day, and I've talked to Tyler about this before. If it's 4th and 1 and Tom Brady is the QB, I don't get why anyone ever punts, and everyone knows it's coming, but he's still, like you said, he's the best we've ever seen at QB sneaks, and I like it because say he's doing it for 4th and 1. The likelihood that he actually ends up with like 3 yards off of that, I think that's relatively likely. And if he does end up having a few kneel downs, bringing it back to 2, you still win the bet. So I'm on board with that.
I just remember last year, it was the number one prop bet outside of the coin toss was Patrick Mahomes rushing yards. And on the final 3 kneel downs, he rushed backwards for a combined 15 yards.
Yeah.
And unless you had gotten the Patrick Mahomes opener, that caused you to lose. So, again, it correlates with who you think's going to win versus who you think's going to lose the game. But Yeah, I'm about out of props. You guys have milked me dry. I got to go back and hunt some more.
Well, going off of what you just said and something you said earlier, I bet under rushing yards on Mahomes today. I think it was 10.5 when I got it.
I saw it as high as 22 at 22.5.
Yeah, I know I missed it early.
Oh man, I'm looking right now on FanDuel. They have 23.5 on FanDuel. They have 23.5. Lay $1.10. Either way.
So you said you put money on the trick play specials, right?
Love trick plays.
Oh yeah.
So realistically, the only one getting a trick play this game at the quarterback position is Tom Brady, because Patrick Mahomes has turf toe, has this concussion. So you're putting money on Tom Brady getting a pass. I don't know if I would do that, but it could happen. They could pull their Philly in Tampa. So that's just a little risky for me, but I like the other one that you were talking about. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yards.
Yeah, the yards. Yep.
So I think an interesting trick play, and I'm a sucker for like stupid narratives. But when the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl a few years back, I bet for Richard Sherman to get an interception because I share the same last name as him. And as you guys probably all know, there is a Sherman in this game on the Chiefs. So I did bet Anthony Sherman to score a touchdown in this game. He's probably going to get one touch total. I do know that he's been getting less and less snaps of late, especially since they don't really care to run the ball as much. I think he only had like 12 snaps last week. But I bet Anthony Sherman. I wish he was part of the Fat Man touchdown, but I don't believe he would count, though he's mostly blocking. So what do you think about like random guys like that to catch an anytime touchdown? Because their odds are going to be higher. And like I mentioned before, the Kelseys, the Tyreeks are going to be a main focus of the defense. So you might have to do something like a little shuffle pass to the fullback.
Yeah, I agree, Lou, and I'm going to give you two names right here. Darrell Williams and Sammy Watkins are two names I'm watching on the Chiefs to get scoring plays because last Super Bowl didn't Sammy Watkins have a huge play? So
he only plays well in week 1 and the last week of the season. That's Sammy Watkins.
Yep. So let's see some Sammy Watkins today, then, baby, because it's not happening any other time of the season besides next week 1. But I like Darrell Williams a lot.
All right, so we're reaching the full hour of our show. And the way I wanted to close this show out was each of us go around the horn real quick and say our 3 favorite bets of the day, regardless if it's under, over, money line, props, whatever, your 3 favorite bets of the day. But before I jump to that, is there any closing thoughts? Lou, Randy, Maddie. All right, cool. So let's hit 3 favorite bets of the day. Naturally, I'll kick it off to give you all a second to think through that. To me, it's going to be Tom Brady to score a touchdown. It's going to be 5-1 odds. We've mentioned it before. I like the fact that him just being able to rush that in. It's going to be Evans to score a touchdown, and it's going to be Evans the under in yards. So Evans under in yards, Evans to score a touchdown, and Tom Brady to score a touchdown. Those are my 3 favorite prop bets of the day. Lou, you ready?
Yeah, I like Tom Brady MVP. As I mentioned earlier, I think if we believe the Buccaneers are going to win, it's going to be Tom Brady, who I don't want to say is gifted the MVP, but as we saw in the awards yesterday, NFL is all about giving quarterbacks awards. So I think if they win, you're getting better odds by getting him MVP. So I like that one. I also am doing that Buccaneers to score first, and then I also picked Mike Evans to have most receiving yards in the game at 8-1. I know you guys were all on the under on that, but I think if he does get a lot of receptions and he does get a lot of yards, then I think that's going to be the type of game where we see him getting 100 50 or whatever that we've seen from Mike Evans before. So I thought there is decent value in that pick as well.
And I just wanted to talk real quick to the folks listening. Like, it's not the worst idea to be like to bet also Evans under yards and then also Evans most receiving yards total, right? Like
Little hedge.
Yeah, a little hedge, exactly. So I think that, you know, on the surface it seems like a bad idea, but when you look at the actual odds, it's not the worst idea. And sorry, Lou, did I cut you off? Did you talk about 3?
Yeah, that was 3.
Okay, Randy, looks like you're ready, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 1 favorite, Tom Brady, over 62.5% completion percentage. Number 2 favorite is combined punts under 6.5. And my 3rd favorite, Tyreek Hill, longest reception over 27.5 yards, because he can beat you deep. He can take a short one and use his speed and elusiveness, and he can get you 2 ways with that 27.5 yard reception. So those are my big 3: Tommy B and punts, and Tyreek Hill.
Maddie.
Yeah, I like the national anthem one, where is there going to be a scoring drive that takes less time than singing of the national anthem? And I say no. I say there's not going to be a scoring drive. I say that these defenses are good enough to put up a fight, and they're not going to let big plays happen. And then, you know, that's just a little risky one that I would throw a little bit on, because it's a big line. And then there's another one that I like too, which is a little out there, which is it's just a game of chance. There's a 1 in 6 chance of being right, and it's the first Gatorade color dumped on the winning coach. This one's a fun one to bet. This is one of my favorite ones to bet every year, and I am betting blue. I'm going blue, baby.
So I'm going orange on that, and the only reasoning behind that is because that's what the Chiefs did last year.
That's what I was going to say. And orange is traditionally tied to Andy Reid. I believe the NFC Championship game where they went and played Tom Brady before was orange. So orange has got to be a strong favorite on the Gatorade color. Sorry, I was just Gatorade's a great bet.
Yeah. What are the odds on blue? What did you get on that?
The odds on blue are plus 300.
Yeah, that is pretty good odds.
I like the odds on red, which are plus 250, which I'm going to guess is Tampa Bay's normal Gatorade color. And then I like the player props on the touchdowns. I like I just said, I like Darrell Williams. He's plus 180 right now to score a touchdown. So anytime touchdown for Darrell Williams, which is their main goal line back, I would say Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting stuffed is not helping him. So, you know, if you lay 10 on that, you get 18. So I like it.
Awesome. Closing thoughts on Super Bowl betting, prop bets, anything whatsoever, gentlemen.
Mine is stay away from some of those ambiguous ones. It's either a yes or no answer, anytime score, as opposed to first overall score. You know, before I did this, it was, you know, you play craps. If you ever go to a craps table, all those prop bets in the middle of the table. Well, there's a reason why they pay so good, because they're so hard to hit. I would much rather stick under over yardage or reception, or a yes or no answer. When you add in ambiguity, it does add in a better payoff, but the bookie does hide in a lot more vig in those games, a chance. So that would be my one recommendation. And thanks for tuning in.
Lou, Maddie, closing thoughts, anything?
Hit me up for design work on Twitter. You know, I make Super Bowl design work too. You know, I did some Super Bowl party flyers for a guy. So if you need anything, if you need just anything done, hit me up on Twitter at Maddie Big Chest.
Yeah. And I'd say I don't think there's a lot of reason that you should be betting the quote unquote normal bets of this game because of how efficient those lines are. I think where you're really going to find the value is in the prop bets. And this, as I mentioned before, is the best day for prop bets, because, you know, they haven't been looking up things like, I mean, Gatorade doesn't happen in every game, but not as necessarily is that the best example, but things like these specific to position bets that we just don't see in other games isn't as efficient of lines. So I think you can expose them in ways.
Awesome. That will do it for our Super Bowl show here, talking about prop bets, DFS. I know we didn't get to the showdown, folks, but not going to lie, not playing the showdown today. The prop bets are just too juicy. So for Randy, for Maddie, for Lou, I am Tyler. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Good luck with your bets, and I hope you enjoy the Super Bowl. Don't forget, tell somebody you love them. Later.